Hello there, everybody. Thank you for stopping by. Just really quickly before we get going with the actual forecast, I do have a new contest that I would like to announce, and that starts now and goes through to the end of the 25th of June 2017. The prize for this contest is one free introductory Reiki package. And if you look on my website, what you'll see that is actually 3 Reiki sessions that you will be winning for free if you win this contest. I will have a drawing at the end. Somebody who is impartial will choose a name out of all the names of the entries. So to enter this contest, all you have to do is find out what the word Reiki translates to in English. So what does Reiki actually mean when we say it in English? And send me that information in an email at amista333@yahoo.com. On to your forecasts. Hello there, Virgo. Thank you so much for stopping by for your weekly tarot video forecast for the week of June 19th through the 25th. What we have coming up for Monday, Virgo, is we have the Eight of Clubs. Eight of Clubs is just telling me that things are moving swiftly around you. There may be a whole lot of communication going on, and you are staying on your toes just to keep up with any changes and updates that are coming out on Monday. For some of you, I feel like also, and this is a little bit sentimental of me, but I do feel like for some of you, you may find yourselves falling in love on Monday. Sometimes that card can be associated with that, and I am getting a little bit of that feeling. So I would say probably not, we're not looking at the majority of you here, but maybe 10 to 15% could be, at the most, probably could be affected by that. But for most of you, this is just communication going quickly, having to stay on your toes to keep up with the latest updates and what's going on. Okay, so that's Monday. Tuesday, what we have showing up is the Seven of Clubs in reverse. Seven of Clubs in reverse just means that there is some kind of situation where you've stood your ground. You've let people know what your boundaries are, what you're willing to tolerate, what you're not willing to tolerate, what you're willing to do for them, what you're not willing to do for them, whatever it might be for you. And they're pushing those boundaries. They want to see, are those boundaries for real or not? Going to be up to you whether you enforce your boundaries or whether you roll right over them. Whether you let them roll right over them, I should say. This is really interesting too to me because I don't often get these types of messages in. There's just not my primary focus. I'm very not political. But I want to say on Monday, there's a lot of changes going on in the world politically wise. So, I'm somebody who does not watch the news because there's so much reported that just doesn't have to be, that's not very positive. So I'm not really up to date on things unless something is a big deal, then my friends and neighbors end up telling me about it. But all I can say is Monday, I think we have a lot of changes coming in politically, and I do feel like this is kind of a worldwide thing. I don't think I'm talking about just the US here or just Europe, but a lot of changes coming in politically. And there may be some big breaking news about some kind of event that happens on Monday. And then on Tuesday, I feel like there is sort of some I don't know if you want to call it backlash, but there is sort of an emotional reaction. And I think that there's going to be a little sparring between countries or between leaders of countries about, okay, who's going to stick to their word and who is not. If you said you're doing this, we would really like for you to not do this, that type of thing. Okay. So not quite sure where that's coming from or why that's pertinent for you Virgos. It hasn't happened in any other of my videos so far this week, and you guys are my halfway point or my 6th video. So interesting stuff coming in there. We'll see what happens. We'll see if I'm a wackadoodle or if this stuff actually happens. All right, so I do feel like, though, Virgos, that what I told you about what applies just to you, I feel like that still applies, okay? That applies on an individual basis. And then this other stuff was just coming in. I just had to share it because, if it comes up, my agreement with Sacred Spirit is if it comes up, I put it out there. There's a reason Sacred Spirit is sharing that with me. Okay, so let's look at Wednesday. What we have coming up here is the Emperor. The Emperor does tell me, Virgos, that you are taking charge of things in your life on Wednesday. Maybe you had been letting things get a little bit disorganized or a little bit sloppy. This is where you start tightening up the ship, as we say in the military. I mean, it's a high compliment. When I was in the Air Force, it was a high compliment if somebody said so and so runs a tight ship. That means that they have their stuff together, they're organized, scheduling is cool, everything works smoothly, all the cogs and the gears are coming together the way they should. I feel like for you on Wednesday, that's kind of what's happening. You're kind of taking where there had been some things that were kind of putting a little hitch in the giddy up here. I think that you're smoothing that out. You're making sure that things are running smoothly, organized in a way that makes sense around you and in your life on Wednesday. I also kind of get the sense for some of you Virgos on Wednesday when you're taking control like this and getting things back into shape the way they should be. I kind of feel like you have been, previous to this, sort of, what's the best word I can use here? You had been letting other people influence your day or your routine or how you do things because of what worked best for them rather than what works best for you. And I think that this other person that you were letting influence maybe was not the most healthy, balanced person themselves. And so their lives basically are a little bit chaotic. And so when you try to let them rule how you do things or even influence how you do things, what you're doing is you're allowing that chaos into your life that didn't need to be there and that normally wouldn't be there with you Virgos, especially Virgos. You guys are the most organized people that I have run into. Like, I'm pretty organized and you guys make me a little bit crazy, okay, when I hang out with you. So the idea that you were letting somebody else kind of influence how things were going seems far-fetched a little bit to me, but that's what I have coming in, and I feel like you said that's enough of that. I like my routine. I like things to move smoothly. I like being organized. I like things to make sense. We're getting back to that. Okay, so that's what I see coming in for you guys on Wednesday. You're just taking control back and tightening up that ship. Now let's look at Thursday. Five of Swords showing up here. Five of Swords is a conflict. Okay, and I'm not surprised. You just tightened up your ship. Whoever that was influencing that ship before, they're used to having their chaos rule in your life. There's going to be a little conflict. Oh, wait a second. We're doing things that make sense now? What the heck just happened here? That's kind of going to be their reaction. So, yeah, just a heads up. Be ready that there will be a little bit of a backlash for you taking control of things and getting them back in order again. Okay? Temporary backlash is what it feels like to me. I think the person is just used to having things their way. So basically, this conflict is really all about them throwing a tantrum. And the conflict also, what I'm hearing for you Virgos, is going to be as big or as little as you let it be. Okay? So you can give this conflict a whole lot of attention, or you can give it minimal attention. You can say, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. See you later, bye. Or you can say, oh no, I'm so sorry. Well, let's go back to the other way. Blah. And then it just gets into this bigger thing. Okay? So it's up to you how big you let this conflict get that shows up on Thursday as a result of you getting things back in shape on Wednesday. All right, so let's look at Friday. Friday, what we have coming up is we do have the Three of Swords. Three of Swords is probably, out of the whole deck, my least favorite card. I know some people say the Death card or the Devil card. Not me. Three of Swords. Okay, so Three of Swords just means that there's something going on that makes you feel some heartache or some heartbreak. I'm also lately, like within the last 6 months to a year, noticing that a lot of times when this card comes up, people are literally having heart issues where they need to go to the emergency room. And I don't consider myself a medical intuitive, so for this to actually come up in my readings is kind of a surprise to me, but I do want you to be aware so that if you start feeling any symptoms on Friday or around because people tell me that a lot of times these things happen, but not exactly on the days that I predict. Pay attention to any symptoms that you have. If you've got something iffy going on with chest pain, with pain on your left arm, whatever, get yourself to the hospital. Don't be sitting there wondering if you need to do that or not. The only way to really know if you're having a heart attack is to have the EKG done. There's no other way to know that, okay? Even if you live with a nurse, she can't tell you until you've run the EKG, all right? So, not that all nurses are she. Please don't take that as sexist, but he or she. Let's put it that way. So anyway, if you do happen to have any heart issues that come up, please get them checked out. Don't be goofing around with them. I did have this come up one time, and a guy emailed me and said, I'm having chest pains. Is it serious? How does he know I'm checking my email anytime within the next 12 hours? First of all, please don't do that to me. You guys are going to give me a heart attack if you do that to me. If you're wondering if it's serious or not, get yourselves to the hospital. That's all I have to say there. But for most of you, I don't think it's going to be anything medical at all. For most of you, it's going to be just some kind of heartache or heartbreak. Maybe you're feeling betrayed by a loved one. Maybe you lost a pet. Maybe you saw something on the news that just kind of ripped at your heart. You just couldn't believe humans treat other humans that way. So lots of things that can come in that can bring up the Three of Swords. It doesn't have to be a really big, huge deal, but it is showing up here. So it is something to pay attention to. And especially if it manifests physically for you, please don't mess around with this. Get it taken care of. All right, let's look at Saturday. Here we have the Falling Tower in reverse. Gotta say, Virgos, I like the falling tower in reverse much more than I like it right side up. So, falling tower in reverse just means that you went through a situation where something that made you feel safe and secure and that you thought would probably last indefinitely just was like suddenly and surprisingly, maybe even shockingly, removed from your life. Okay? Excuse me. So now that the falling tower is coming up in reverse, what's going on is you're recovering from that situation being pulled away. Okay? So now you're looking around, you're finding ways to replace the things that thing that made you feel secure offered you before. And what you're finding is that the opportunities out there are much better than the opportunity that you had before that was yanked away. So the falling tower in reverse is really one that talks about coming out ahead of the game whenever you've experienced a loss. So experiencing that loss and then finding out, here's other things out here that are better that I could be doing instead. Why wasn't I looking before? So coming out on top of the game. Okay? That's what your card comes up as for Saturday. And then Sunday. Virgos, you guys have the Ace of Coins. Ace of Coins is just telling me that you are receiving some kind of gift on Sunday. That's interesting. You're the second sign that got that same card on Sunday, and it's bright side up for both of you. Can't remember the other sign. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Ace of Coins just means that you are receiving some kind of gift on Sunday. This can be a gift from the universe. This can be a gift from your little one. This can be a lottery win. This can be a lot of different things, actually. I've seen this manifest in a zillion and one different ways, and I'm expecting that for you Virgos, it's going to manifest in a lot of different ways for you too. But something that is unexpected and good comes your way, most likely in the form of a gift. Could be just that you're walking along and you look down and there's a $100 bill blowing in the grass, So something good coming your way, something good and expected whenever I see this card. That's how I read that. All right, Virgos, that is your week. Thank you so much, everybody, for stopping by, for hanging out, for liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting. I do appreciate all of your support. I hope to see some of you here this week for Reiki sessions, some of you here this week for readings, and the rest of you I will see on the next video. Peace out.